Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Royal Corner. I'm sitting with a phenomenal woman in studio today, but before we even go there, I'm hoping that you guys have been enjoying the last few episodes that I've published on my pages. Please like and subscribe and continue to share because I really think there's power in sharing these conversations and stories. So to introduce my guest today, I'm sitting with Karabo Motaung, a woman that inspires me ever so much. This is a woman who goes boldly for what she believes in, and she's actually creating waves in our society with the work that she does. So I'm very excited to welcome her to the Royal Corner podcast. Welcome, Karabo.
Hi, Zumi. Thanks for having me. It's been it's long overdue.
It is.
It's long overdue, this conversation, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this, I think, for about a year now.
Yeah, we have.
But you are such a busy woman. It's so hard to get a hold of you. But I understand. I understand because of all the endeavors that you're a part of. Yeah, so for the benefit of the audience, so I met Karabo in our master's class in 2019, and we've since then become very good friends. And I'm always in awe of this woman and the different things that she's doing. So, Karabo, to kickstart our conversation, I want to say welcome to our podcast. Really, it's us having a conversation and a chat. Relax and enjoy the conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Karabo, tell us a little bit of background in terms of who you are, where you come from, before we start touching on some of the big stuff that you're doing, which inspire me. Who is Karabo Motaung?
Karabo is a Bloemfontein-born girl, raised in Sharpeville, Valley, raised by a single parent. I am the middle of three. So really, my mom was a nurse. So as a single parent, she spent a lot of time at work. And so I spent a lot of time raising my brother. Spent a lot of time having to do things on my own. And so growing up, I had to be independent from a very young age. And so that's who Karabo has become, right? Because that's what Karabo saw growing up, that all you need to do is just wake up and work and work and work and work. And I guess that's who Karabo is, right? Or who Karabo was, I want to say.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Karabo has evolved into becoming this incredible that's sitting next to me today. I mean, I look at you and I'm like, how does this woman do it? So there are many hats that you wear. And I'm always, I think whenever I get the opportunity, affirming the work that you do. And it's so interesting to hear about your background and where this started. Just getting to understand that from your formative years, you had to be independent quite quickly and realizing the value of hard work. So, Karabo, there are so many things that you do, and I want us to touch a little bit on all of them. I know you wear many hats. I often ask you, how many hours do you have in a day to get all of these things done? But where I want to start is with your journey as a non-executive member, right?
Yeah.
Of the SABC board, and you being the youngest member to ever apply for this position or to get this position. So I remember thinking when you shared with us, your friends, that you are on the board of the SABC, I was like, what do you even mean? What do you even mean? You're a young female. How did you get, because typically we expect people to be old. People that sit on boards are old because of the experience that they've amassed. So tell us about that. How did you get into that? What made you courageous enough to go for that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a very brave move, I must say. And let me just share some background as to how I got there. So there was a point in my career where I was feeling stuck, right? So my whole life, like I said, I've always been on to the next one, right? And so for me, it was the next promotion, the next this, the next that, right? And there was a point in my life where I was feeling quite stuck, right? And I remember thinking, you know what, I actually need mentorship. I need a mentor. And at the time, actually, Yolanda Kluba had just started this mentorship boardroom, right? So where she invited, like, I think various CEOs, to come and offer to be mentors. And so how it would work is, as a mentee, you'd go onto the platform and then just ask someone to mentor you, and of course, if they're available, they'll say yes and so forth. So I did that and met two wonderful women. who offered to mentor me, right? And actually, at the time, they were running a competition, I think just in a way to try and encourage people to take on the mentorship, right? So the prize was you were going to win a, I'm going to say a voucher or a space on Vumi Msweli's coaching platform, what it's called, Career Accelerator Program. So one of my mentors, I remember, is like, why don't you put your name for this, right? And I just thought, okay. So the what you needed to do was to attend, like, have had a minimum of 3 mentorship sessions, right? Or sessions with your mentor. And she was like, no, I mean, we've had our sessions, right? So here's this thing. Why don't you just throw your name in? So I did throw my name in. The next thing, call. You won. Won what? A space on this accelerator program. What is this thing? And so I go on this program, meet some amazing young women. And I'm hearing women talking about, hey, non-executive board member. Remember, Nami, I'm like you thinking, board member, it's like maybe at the age 50, right? And so I start hearing and start listening to these young women talking about, boards, being on boards, and being part of the IODSA, which is the Independent Directors Association. And I'm like, how do you get onto these things, right? And so long story short, I go start this journey. I want to be on boards. I register. Start doing this director board a training. Before I even finished, Mam Trifosa, and I want to put her name up, and Charmaine, they're like, guys, there's this post for a board at SABC. If you want us to nominate you, send us your CV and we'll do the nomination. Just like that.
What?
Just like that. I've said I wanted to be on boards, and when I started, I mean, you think I want to start with volunteering, I want to start with boards in small organizations. Not God. God was just like, no, my girl.
All the way up.
He's like, I'm going to take you from a zero. I want to throw you right into the deepest end, into one of the most contested space in South Africa. And you are going to sit on that board as the youngest woman. I was just like, wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was that not scary for you in terms of how it happened? Like, God, me.
Every day I was just like, no, cannot be.
Yeah.
Cannot be. But that's just the power of God.
Oh.
I need to win that. We're thinking, small, little, let's start short, He's just like, nah, girl.
All the way up.
All the way up.
You know what? And I really love that it started with you saying, I want to be on boards. After you had been exposed to a group of women that are talking about this board thing, and I suppose it speaks to the power of, the spaces that we are in. You get to decide which spaces that you're going to occupy. And in those spaces, that's where you get inspired, you get to gain more knowledge and information, because I think that was a good way to also accelerate your journey. And somebody actually saying, put your hand up, I will put your name forward. The importance of sponsorship. Yeah. And God was like, don't worry, child, I got you.
Got you. Absolutely, to me. And I think for me, at the time, I think I didn't understand the importance and the value of mentorship. I didn't understand the importance of networking, right? And it is having gone through that process that I understood the importance of women coming together, women standing up together, and women saying, go. If you want to go, let's go together. If you want to go, I got your hand. If you want to go, let me put the ladder up for you. And I didn't know this world existed, but again, it's because we close ourselves off in our corners.
Sure.
And we feel like, also when I'm dim, what, just stay in your corner.
Yeah, who are you to
be doing these things?
Yeah.
Just go to work, stay in your corner. But no, right? We feel like we can't be in certain spaces because it's not for people like us, but I've had to learn to absolutely peel that layer off And it has not been easy, but I've had to learn how
Sure.
to do it. I've had to learn to put my hand up and to say, I'll do it. I've had to learn to step into rooms where I am literally shaking, but I'm just like, you know what? Tatum has not put me here and brought me here for nothing. So, girl, you're going to need to firm up those feet and those legs and walk into that room and go and address these people.
Sure.
So yeah, hey, but I guess for me, it's being intentional.
Yeah.
I had to be intentional about it.
Sure. Man, that's so inspiring. As somebody who comes from the kind of background that you come from, like you said, you could have limited yourself to say, oh, well, who am I? Who am I to go there? Who are you not to?
Yeah, absolutely.
And acknowledging the
Absolutely.
fear that you actually had as you're going through the journey, but saying, I'm going to do it afraid, man. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, no. We'll learn on the job, girl.
Yeah.
There's no time.
Yeah.
We'll learn on the job.
And the board membership, I guess, for people that don't know, like myself, what does that journey look like? How long are you on the board? Is there a specific term that you are appointed for? Are you restricted in terms of being able to then serve on other boards? What does that actually look like? Just a bit of insight.
Sure. So for public boards, there is a term, right? For the SABC, it's 5 years.
Okay.
Right. And so in terms of sitting on other boards, I am able to sit on other boards. However, they should not be companies that are in competition with the SABC.
Okay.
So I can't be doing a multi-choice, for instance, right? But I am allowed to sit on any other boards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember you had shared with us that are you chairing another board?
I am. I'm chairing, it's actually an NPO.
Okay.
It's an old age home in Vosloorus. So I'm chairing that board there as well.
Sure. Look at you. This is why I ask how many hours, because you are holding down a job, a full-time job. Can I mention the organization?
Yeah, you
Yes. You are with the Competition Commission.
Yeah.
As a senior principal analyst.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's no small feat, because there's a lot that you need to do. You actually shared with me that there was some work that you were doing yesterday that you need to present there next week. So your job in itself, your day-to-day job, requires so much of you, requires your brain, a lot of your brain, and investing the time investment. So with now you being on the board of the SABC and now you're chairing the NPO board and you've got your full-time job, and I know there's other things which I'd like for you to share with us. There's other impact work. I know you're very passionate about making change in the spaces that you're in. And we see it all the time, as her friends, she's often inviting us, guys, come, there's tutoring that's happening at such and such a township school. And I love that you're giving back in that way and you're investing yourself fully. I don't ever see you doing half jobs with the things that you are involved in. How are you handling all these hats that you're wearing?
I love what I do. Every single one of them. And so when I'm doing what I do, I don't feel like I'm working. And sometimes I do get carried over. To me, it does come at a cost. I don't want to lie. And I think you and I have had this conversation where, I mean, I don't stay with my kids full time, right? And maybe it has been one of the reasons I've been able to invest so much time into doing everything that I do, right? But it has meant that I don't spend a lot of time with my kids, right? But those people are growing and they are demanding of my time now, right? To the extent that I'm actually having to cut back on certain things. But I mean, because I love what I do, I honestly don't feel like I'm working, right? And that's why, I mean, I'd be up till like 2 a.m. in the morning working, right? So that's how I get it done.
Sure.
In 24 hours.
Yeah. I was actually, because I know you're a bit of a night owl, you work into the late night, like 2 a.m., like you're saying. I was like, she's going to make it on time for our recording. And that's the point, that I see you consistently showing up in the different spaces where you're saying, this is a hat that I'm willing to put on and I'm going to do it well. I'm a mother. I'm going to chair a board. I'm going to be a non-executive member on another board. I'm going to do my job really well. Mentorship, are you currently doing? Because I remember in the last few years, there's been some work that you're doing around mentorship, and you've highlighted in the conversation to say it's something that you truly believe in, in terms of the power of it as well. So are you currently involved in mentoring young people that are?
So actually, I think the idea of mentorship for me has always been there. I just maybe didn't know the term that it's mentorship, right? So when I went to varsity, again, being, the first child in your family to go to university, I'm far away. I'm in Grahamstown. I'm going through stuff, and my family is just like, girl, you must study. Like, what's your problem? You are in university, you are staying in res. And once you've been through university to a tertiary institution, there's a lot more than you go through, right? More than just read your textbook, write an exam and pass. And so I've always felt like I didn't have anyone to share my experiences with. I didn't have anyone who said to me, no, this is how you navigate the space, right? And so I struggled a lot. And as soon as I finished, I felt like, there's something that I needed. I felt like I needed a big sister, right? And so in 2016, I started an organization called Women for Girls. Women for Girls essentially is a big sister to young girls that come from marginalized backgrounds that in university. So we mentor young girls that are in universities in the Gauteng province.
Yeah.
So the idea is just to be that big sister for them, to be able to give them space to share, and for us to be able to mentor, and for us to be able to share some experiences with them. So that's what I started in 2016. So that is still ongoing. I can't believe that it's 10 years next year.
Gee whiz. Already.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. And so, yeah, so I think that's what I'm saying, that I think I knew that I've always needed people to draw from. And my experiences in varsity are what inspired me establishing Women for Girls with my partner Molalo. But I think later on in life, I guess I had forgotten that what this term is, what mentorship is, right? And so so that journey began, and 2 years ago, I also then joined Young Leaders Connect. It's a youth chapter of International Women's Forum South Africa, and they do mentorship as well. So they mentor young women that are big in the early stages of their career. So I started on that as well. I started as a mentee actually on the program, and then after the year was done, I then joined the committee. So I then co-headed the mentorship pillar, where we're then responsible for actually managing that mentorship program for YLC.
Yeah. Very ambitious young woman. So your story is a reflection of really going for what it is that you want and putting in the work, putting in the hard work, because it doesn't come easy. Like you said, it comes with sacrifices.
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that over and above that, then with the mentorship that you yourself do in the organizations that you're involved in, where you're impacting young people, you are not only going for what it is that as you stretch yourself, but you're also giving back to say, how do we help others develop and share? Because I think sometimes we don't share enough about, what the journey has been like. I mean, post this, we hope to see more young people serving on boards like that of the SABC. Somebody being able to say, oh, no, gone is that notion of you have to be old in order to be serving in certain spaces, and being afraid, I guess, to voice out your conviction in what it is that you believe in.
To me, my mom was adopted, right, by a priest and his wife.
Okay.
And so she grew up in a family where, as the church, you had to take care of people in the community, right? And so that's what I know. I grew up knowing that when people need help, you know what you need to be able to help, and that's how I feel like I was raised, and so I've always grown up with the sense of community. I've always grown up with the sense of giving back, because had that family not adopted my mom, I don't know where I would be today. Had they not adopted my mom, had they not taken her to school, I don't know where I'd be today.
Sure.
So it just goes to show what a decision to help one person, just help one person, can do.
It has a ripple effect.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And so I always say in my life, I'm a server. I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else. I mean, I tried private sector. That's
Yeah.
where I started.
I was going
I
to
loved
touch
the
on that
money.
actually to say, yeah.
I loved the money, but yeah, I remember one of the main reason I left was I felt like I was not making a difference in the lives of the people that matter. I probably was indirectly, but I wasn't seeing it. And for me, where I am now, I see it. I can touch it, and for me, that matters.
Sure. Because I mean, we are put on earth to serve a purpose.
Yeah,
So you're living in your purpose.
absolutely, 100%.
And that's why I suppose, like what you said in the beginning, it doesn't feel like work when you're doing all these things.
Yeah, I know. I'm just doing what God wants me to do, guys. Nah, I'm just here, and I'm just like, God, where today? Okay, there,
I'm
right.
going to Mamina.
Okay, yeah, I'm to Mamina, girl. I'm to Mamina proper.
Yeah. You know, if I think about it's always such I guess, a pleasant surprise because you don't necessarily share with us as your friends as well. Whenever you're going to have an engagement, whether you're going to be on TV, some of the work, then we'll just see, hey, Bo, she's busy doing this. And the causes that you get involved in. I remember there was a case on school uniforms.
Yeah.
That you were instrumental in driving that conversation. So these are some of the things that, you know, when I look at you and you talk about that impact work, I mean, school uniform.
Yeah.
Just school uniform and how, I guess, maybe you can speak a little bit about what that case was about and how you've been able through driving that conversation, some of the change that we've seen. Because we know some of these schools then, I mean, my son, the school that he goes to, you only have a specific supplier where you can buy from. And I guess people get to charge whatever prices they charge. Yeah. But I'd like to hear more about in your journey with the commission itself, where you've demonstrated then that passion for impact in the spaces that you go into.
Yeah. So I want to start by saying when I joined the commission, I actually joined I'm an economist. So I joined the research division and then I moved around, went into the investigation divisions. And now I'm in the advocacy space, stakeholder relations, right? I'm very passionate about education. I'm passionate about making sure that people know, because I think I always say I suffer from FONK, the fear of not knowing.
Yeah, FONK.
And FONK.
The fear of FONK, yeah.
The fear of not knowing,
yes.
right? And you know, I always say, you know, a difference in knowing can change your life. When you know something that you did not know, you don't know how much that piece of information can change your life, right? And so the space that I'm in right now at the Competition Commission allows me to do that. It allows me to educate my people who otherwise would not have known that a school forcing you to buy uniform from a particular supplier is anti-competitive. My people would not know that. Because all they know is that my child goes to the school says this, and what else can I do?
Yeah.
Right? So parents are consumers, and consumers have rights.
Yes.
And the fact that we don't know and we don't understand our rights puts us in very vulnerable positions.
Yo.
It puts us in positions where businesses are taking advantage of us. You know, and I mean, to me, if you and I are sitting here and I'm going to say we are modern and urbanized. You can imagine someone who's sitting in a rural area in Limpopo, who's facing the same situation, knows nothing, you know. And so my work is to go out and train and teach those people about their rights.
Sure.
And so I love that. That's why I say I love what I do, because I can see it and I can touch it.
Yeah. That education and that awareness that you speak of is so critical.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what we don't know.
We don't know what we don't know. We don't.
Sure.
And so my passion is that, right? And even, I mean, I'm very, very passionate about also the empowerment of businesses, right?
Yeah.
The empowerment, I'm genuinely passionate about the empowerment of people.
Yes.
And so if people are running businesses, right? Small businesses, I mean, I know what big businesses do to try and block, you know, and prevent some SMEs or small business from entering in the market. And so my job is also to train these small businesses so that they know their rights in terms of what the Competition Commission or the Competition Act protects them from, right? What they can do, what is it that they have a right to in terms of participating in the economy. So my job is to protect those people as well, because I want my Black people to be active in this market. I want my Black people to own this economy. And that's why I love the space that I'm in, because I feel like in the little way that I'm contributing,
Yeah.
I'm adding to the transformation that it is that we want to see of this country, where Black people are not just participants, where Black people are not just consumers, but where Black people are also actually economy drivers.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And I mean, we talk a lot about SMEs and how even from, if you look at
Yeah.
unemployment stats, we say that's where we're looking to create the employment that, or to actually bridge that gap of unemployment that we have in the country. And if we're not, I mean, it's an interesting conversation, because if we're not deliberate
Yeah.
about enabling and empowering them, then these businesses are gonna they close shop because of the anti-competitive behavior from some of the big enterprises. So really, I think the role that you play is incredible as part of the commission, and your passion really is very clear to see that this is something that you're extremely passionate about, and I'm thanking you on behalf of these enterprises.
Yeah, no, thanks to me. Like I said, I love what I do. I absolutely love being in that space. I feel like, again, it's a space where God has put me. I didn't think I'd be there this long. Now I was like, there 5 years, that gone.
And it's now what, 12 years?
Yeah, girl, it's a very long time.
Yo.
It's a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we've had in our conversations, our private chats, where when we speak about, the private sector, I know there was a time you were kind of like, okay, I'm ready for my next, but what does that actually look like? So I'm so glad that you touched on the fact that you actually left the private sector to go and serve, and actually maybe share with our audience the fact that, when you left back then the corporate environment, what
Yeah.
it meant for you, and how, I guess, it impacted you directly in terms of leaving corporate and going into the public sector.
Yeah, to me. I was a size 28 at that stage in my life. Because I was actually an analyst, right? Operational risk analyst in one of the investment banks. And so I had been applying at the commission, right? Junior positions. I'd been applying, and I realized I was not getting it, right? And so they then put out a call for graduate trainees. I had done a graduate trainee program at the investment bank, and now as an analyst, working full time.
Yeah.
So now here's this opportunity, but now it means I have to start again as a graduate trainee.
Sure.
Yo, I did it. I left my job, went and joined the commission as a graduate trainee. What they were giving us at the time, I remember they called it a stipend. I had just bought my house to me. What I was getting as the stipend was literally enough just to pay my bond.
Sure.
It was enough just to pay my bond. I remember, life can just, things will happen to you and all at once, right? I then had my car stolen in between all of that. So now I don't have a car. I'm working in Pretoria. My house is in Alberton. And my partner had just left me and I started for another day. In a lot of debt, I must say. I literally had to cancel my medical aid. I took a bus. So there was only one bus that left Joburg to Pretoria every day. That bus left Gandhi Square at 6 a.m. in the morning. So that means that naka 5:30, I must be go Gandhi Square.
Yo.
From Alberton, take a taxi. 3 a.m.
Did you even sleep?
3 a.m., have to wake up, shower. Guys, that time I must tell you, my partner had left. So the house was in my name. And so, lots of dynamics, but the furniture was his. Ne? Guy took his furniture. So I was sleeping on the floor at this time.
Yo.
I remember having to go to my mom to get blankets. So I was sleeping on the floor. But girl, I would wake up every morning, taxi, basi ko Gandhi, get off, go Sunny Park, Sunny Side, walk to the office, get there, put my heels on, and be like everyone else in that office.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
My mom was feeding me. I'd go home, Miaka would cook until ladies kaftini, and I'd eat that food for the rest of the week. I literally, it was my bond and a little bit for transport. Just to move that bus, from taxi, bus, every day. That was my life. And I remember I had an opportunity actually during that time to take a job at a consulting firm, an economics consulting firm. I went for the interview and they offered me the job. I was like, I'm gonna stick this one out. I'm gonna get this junior position, your commission. I'm going to work hard, because at the commission you don't get promoted. You need to apply for every single position that is there, right? And so I was like, the next junior position that comes out, I'm going to make sure that I am prepared. I'm going to study. I'm going to read. I'm going to do the work and make sure that the next one I get it. And I did that.
Sure. And you got it.
And I got it. And that has been my journey throughout the commission up until principal level.
What a story of overcoming and resilience. Saying that life is happening.
Yeah, no,
life is happening to me as it happens to all of us.
Yeah. And you go out there and you're just like, I was thinking, this one, I'm not going to sleep on the floor forever.
Yeah, it's temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary. It's temporary.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
I thank you for sharing that part of the journey, being that vulnerable. Because I think sometimes we go out into the world and we're seeing you as this board member, non-executive board member, and you're chairing a board of this and you're doing this at the commission. But we don't get to get insight in terms of some of the hardships that you've had to actually endure, especially where you said, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to leave this cushiony job with the investment firm because I actually have identified where I belong and I'm going to take a step back and sacrifice for this period. And yes, things are seemingly falling apart around me.
Guys.
But forward is where you are marching.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember, plus I need it's in an estate, this house. The levy, guys,
There's that.
So when I eventually got employed at the commission, that's when they, signed formal contracts, getting a salary now. Before I could enjoy, I think for the first 6 months, I was having to cover my debts. Having to make sure I'm paying off the levies, having to make sure I'm, making arrangements with now having to start, get medical aid again. And it was a lot, guys. But you know what? God makes a way, hey? God makes a way. And I always say, had my partner not left me at the time, I probably would have been a completely different person, journeying on a completely different path today. I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did, because then I had to stand up and I realized immediately, girl, I was not finished. There's nothing. Time is moving. You're not going to wait for, 12 months or for you to get this job at the commission. You need to get it now.
Yeah.
And so I remember I would take files. Because the bus, again, I remember there's one bus. In the afternoon, same thing. One bus leaves Pretoria, it goes to Joburg. That bus, Emma at Sunny Park at 3 p.m. So I had to tell my boss, at 3, I have to be at the bus stop because if I miss this bus, I cannot tell it enough to get me to back home because taxi is expensive.
It's far.
And they say this bus ticket for the week, right? So I would take files home because I'd be like, I'll work at home, but I'd take those files and I'd work at home, but I'd also use the time to try and read up on previous cases because that's what you get asked in interviews, the commission, right? Talk about the work of the commission case. So I use that time because now Kiwan in the house.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't have TV. I don't have any other entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So that's all I could do is use the time to read and work. And that helped me to prepare for my interview.
Wow. See, that is testament to what we could perceive. Well, it's not a perception. It is a curveball that in your life he left, and how that can also become a blessing.
Yeah.
How it fueled you. How not having the comforts of having furniture, a TV, actually fueled you so much that you were able to attain what you had desired,
No,
which was the
absolutely.
job, the junior position at the commission.
Absolutely, when I do me, and so I guess that has been, I think for me, the bouncing ball, right? And I think that has been what keeps me going, right? Knowing that whatever the journey throws at you, there is nothing that God will give you that you cannot overcome. Whatever you go through, Bona, it might not look good right now, and I'm in that space right now, and you know this, right? Where things are just not looking great, but I'm just in that era of, you know what, God, you put me here. You all this thing that's happening, it's no surprise to you.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm asking you to do right now is just to give me the patience to be still and to wait.
Ooh.
Right? So, and that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
So I've always taken hardships. It's during the time it's hard, right? But I've always taken those times to be a time where I feel God is preparing me for the next thing. I always say that whatever hardship I'm going through, it's like, yeah, no, I need to tell me, the last time what happened. It was a, preparation for the next thing. So every time I go through hardships, I'm just like, something is coming up. So just be patient, just go through this hardship. So
The pruning season.
Yeah, no.
Allow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think your story is so powerful and what a testimony, and I'm inspired to know you. I am very grateful that we share a friendship. And I believe this episode, whichever ears it's going to reach, it'll be the right ears.
Yeah.
And wherever, because I always believe that
Yeah.
through sharing our stories, we get to liberate the next person to tap fully into their potential and not to look at their circumstance and say, well, this is what I'm limited to.
Yeah.
So to the ears that it will reach, I hope it unlocks a lot more. And as we wrap up, because our time has come to an end, sadly, there's still so much that I want to explore. But I believe you'll be back.
We'll do a part 2.
We will do.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, just maybe a little bit about you. You mentioned that you're a mom. I know you're a mom to 2 beautiful girls, and you are a wife as well. And you spoke about sacrifice. How do you try and balance it? I know balance is all elusive oftentimes. But how has it been just on the family front and trying to balance those dynamics between the different endeavors that you actually get involved in and I guess being available for your family?
To be honest, there's no such thing as balance. There isn't. It's if you're going to choose a career, you must choose a career. If you want to be a mom and be home and take your kids to school, that's what it is. We always talk about this work-life balance. I'm blessed to me. I have my mom, I have my brother at home who stay with my kids. So if there's anything that needs to be done for the kids, they are there to help me out. I've got a very supportive husband. So I've got a community that is helping me raise my kids.
Sure.
So I'm not going to lie and say, I've got this,
Structure.
I've got a proper support structure.
Sure.
Proper support structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, they're growing now. They're demanding a lot more of me, and so I'm having to, like I said, step back from certain things, cut, right? But I can't have it all. There's no balance. There isn't, right? It's this. If it's 20% here, it's 80% there.
Yeah.
Right. And I've for the longest time, it used to hurt me. I see you do me with your kid, and I'm just like, what's that? Dumi is just this perfect parent, and and I had to be okay with the fact that I'm mothering in a different way. My mom was always at work, Dumi. I don't know a relationship with a parent where we are sitting down and having dinner and having family time. I don't know that. And I'm having to learn on the job, but my husband had that. And so we get to complement each other, right? Because he comes from a very big family. He comes from where everybody is always in everybody's space. right? And when we were growing up, it was just my brother and I. So he'd sit in his corner, I'd sit in my corner. We are not fighting. We are happy. We're okay. But we are just happy in our corners, right? And so I'm learning to be this mother who is not just work, right? But who's also saying, Ish, I also need to sit down with my kids. And
Yeah.
but like I said, you know what? And I've had to learn not to be too hard on myself. It used to beat me up, proper. But I had to learn, oh, you know what? I'm parenting differently, and I need to be okay
Yes.
with the way I'm parenting.
And it doesn't make you less of a mother. Doesn't make you
Yeah,
less of a mother.
yeah.
So,
Sometimes in here,
and you know what? The world doesn't make it easy because it will
yeah.
judge you, and people will be like, yeah,
Either way,
either way,
right?
either way.
Whether you are in career and not a fit mother, you
Yes.
know, they'll judge you. It's either you're being judged for not being a good parent, or you're being judged for not being what's the word? What's this word? Determined. No, what's the word?
Present.
At work, man.
Oh.
You are not
Ambitious.
You are not ambitious.
Yeah.
You know. Either
Yeah.
way, so you just need to choose your battle. I always
your
say,
hard.
choose your hard. Choose the battle that you want to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen you such an incredible mother. So big ups to you. I want to affirm you that you are doing well. Like
Thank
you
you,
are
my
at
friend.
swimming
Thank you.
galas, and I'm just like, girl, I'm in bed. So
I try. Yeah.
big ups to you. And Karabo, just in closing, thank you so much for making the time. I don't take it for granted that you could have been anywhere else. I know actually from here you are dashing off to your kids. So I appreciate you carving the time out to come and spend with us on the Real Corner and to share your story, because I think it's such a powerful story of resilience, excellence, and passion. I think that this conversation is going to impact many lives. So continue doing what you're doing. I urge you to continue excelling in the spaces that you're in. And in as much as you are taking those active steps to draw back from certain things, I pray that you will continue to feel fulfilled, even in the ones that you choose to commit to and dedicate yourself to.
Yeah.
And yeah, wishing you all the best also to get through the season. And I love that you've embraced it to say, this is the season where I need to be still while I'm waiting.
Yeah.
And it will be revealed in due course what next. So, I wish you well for the journey ahead.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And I think thank you for creating these spaces, right? We don't have a lot of people that look like us, right? That can tell their stories, and I think we a lot of our children need to see and hear so that they can believe in themselves.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for creating these spaces, where people can come and share their stories, right? So please keep doing the work that you do. Keep inspiring me. I learn from you, friend. Hey,
Yeah.
on the mothering, I'm telling you, I text you to me, where's kid friendly restaurants.
Yeah.
Right. So I think you're an absolutely amazing person. You're an amazing friend. So please, keep doing the work that you do. You are changing lives in offering these spaces and these opportunities as well. So please keep doing that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, there you have it. A very powerful story on excellence and passion, as well as overcoming some of life's toughest challenges as we're pursuing our dreams. I'm very grateful that we got to engage with Karabo Motaung today, and I hope you got a little bit of insight in terms of how she managed to get into being a board member at the tender age that she's at this point in time, and as well as the different spaces that she chooses to occupy and how she is excelling in those. Please continue to like, subscribe, and to follow The Royal Corner SA on YouTube as well as on Spotify. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers.